Abercrombie Kids is bringing the ultimate first day energy back to school. It all starts with on-trend outfits for that front door photo shoot. Plus, the coolest tees, shorts, and jeans to take them through the rest of the year. Get them ready for their close-up and keep them comfy too. Make this grade their best one yet. Shop all things back to school, in-store, online, and in the app.
At Sierra, you'll always find apparel, footwear, and gear for 20 to 60% less than department and specialty store prices. But right now, it's clearance time, so you can save even more on everything you need to get active and outside. Visit your local Sierra store today.
Unfiltered discussions. Unexpected guests. No topic is off limits, from sex and relationships to the human condition, personal anxieties, and so much more. The only talk show of its kind in the world. This is The Last Show with David Cooper.
Welcome to The Last Show. I am Caitlin Green, back again filling in for David Cooper, who has abandoned us to go gyrate in the Nevada desert at Burning Man. I'm calling tonight's show Fun and Frivolity Friday because yes, you're going to learn about real things from real experts, like how to solve your sleep issues and the trending form of therapy that's genuinely helping PTSD sufferers, but it's Friday. Let's break the cycle of rage-baiting news headlines because when people are upset over a Cracker Barrel rebrand, and yes, that is a real story that I keep seeing this week, I think it's time to calm down. So I'm going to talk to the star of heartwarming TikTok prank calls that have over 20 million views. I have a guest who can all but confirm this year's Super Bowl halftime show, and that sleep expert who can share a 60-minute bedtime routine that will help you thwart insomnia. So it's Friday, open a beverage of your choosing, and let's unwind together. When I think of my next guest, I think of lols, I think of a warmed heart, of a maritime kitchen party. I think of TikTok superstardom, podcasting, broadcasting, and really just generally being one of my favorite people to talk to. And a woman who can really rock denim. You can rock some denim. And it's a shame that people are enjoying you right now on radio and they don't get to see your adorable face. But this jean jacket is working for you, Jax Irwin. Welcome to the show.
I thought, why not get a seventh jean jacket? I thought in case people aren't sure if I'm a lesbian or not, I need them to know through my 7 jean jackets,
I need my jacket to announce my sexuality.
Here I am in my jean jacket. Thank you so much for having me, Caitlin. I love you.
Thank you for joining me. We are two reformed, full-time radioers into the land of podcasting and digital audio. And I just think about our shared journey and the number of car rides that we've had together to go to live broadcasts, to go to various cottage show homes. Like, this is really how we got to know one another. And then I discovered that you are my favorite brand of person. You are a Canadian maritimer.
I am a Canadian maritimer. And yeah, we spent a lot of years waking up at weird hours together, which sounds like an odd thing, but we did mornings in the same building for years. So it was always a pleasure to getting to know you. And then when I found out that we have such a maritime connection, you already felt kind of like home, and then you extra felt like home.
Okay, so because I am Toronto born and bred, but my dad is from Prince Edward Island. My husband is from Halifax. I went to Dalhousie. I am kind of a de facto maritimer, but I always wonder how I present to other people. Like, do I give a little bit of maritimes, would you say?
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's the warmth, and it's I don't know, there's like a silliness around someone who's either from the Maritimes or who has a maritime connection, where they're just like, sometimes you just don't take things as seriously, and maybe that's a trauma response. I don't know. But you know what? Like, there's just a silliness, and I love that. There's like a warmth and silliness around maritime adjacent people.
We're a good time, and you just want to hang out with us in the kitchen. That really is how I would describe both of us. So for anyone who didn't listen to Jax and her many iterations of radio, you are now probably, I would say, like, you do your podcast with Adam. So you have Adam Wilde, who also was your radio husband for many years, and now he's your podcast husband. That show is great. You guys do a great digital segment called Left on Red. And I love
Thank
it.
you.
So people have probably seen a ton of this. You guys were just in time. First of all, you guys were just in Times Square. Your faces were splashed all over New York City, and I couldn't have been more excited.
It was, that was the plot twist of the century. Yeah, we just launched our podcast in March, and then Amazon Music, I guess, wanted to feature us, and they put us on their main double billboard, like side by side in Times Square. So I immediately booked with points so I could go see it live in
Booked
person,
with
because
points.
I gotta get out there. I was so excited. It was unreal, and seeing Adam's beautiful, like, round head and my smaller, shorter, younger round head beside it. No, I love him. He's been my best friend and co-host for almost a decade now. So it was cool seeing the places that I never anticipated we would be, and like how lucky we are that people actually want to listen to us to put us in those places.
It's so great. And was it weird? Did you feel like you wanted to run around to people in Times Square and point to yourself on the billboard and then point to yourself in real life?
When we did go to New York, it was a heat wave, so it was about 44 degrees. So I feel like if I was running around it in any sort of fever dream, I was one of many. And as you know, Times Square is already a pretty active place, so I feel like I didn't want to bring any attention to myself in that environment. It was I wanted to get in and out, Caitlin. I did. It was a pretty wild time.
When I go to New York, I don't even go and visit anymore. I try to stay away from there in general. So you're right. You didn't have the luxury of running for sweat related purposes, nor really the luxury of running around talking to people for safety, personal
No.
safety related reasons.
Yes.
So that's a good
Yes.
point. But I love
Yeah.
that. I love just seeing like a Canadian content creator in that space. It's so fantastic. And it's such a cool part of this chapter of your career. I also think people probably would know you from your East Coast cold calls. When you and I have gone out for meals together, media ladies who lunch, you have been recognized and
Yes.
sent free donuts while we were at lunch for these East Coast cold calls. So for anyone who has not seen this yet, can you explain what they are?
So, yes, and also, thank you for the donuts to the White Lily. That was very kind
Honestly.
of them. So yeah, it kind of started accidentally last summer. I always like the idea of prank calls, and I always, I've always been trying to do new things digitally. I tried some prank calls, but I don't like it. I don't like a joke being at the expense of somebody else. So I wanted to do a prank call in a way that felt good. I ended up calling a random number in Cape Breton, and I really lucked out because the woman, instead of asking any sort of questions, she just started gabbing with me, and I just kind of kept it going to see how long it would go. And my God, it kept going. And I put a small clip of that online, and people just really liked hearing and seeing a random conversation with nothing, beyond asking what's for dinner and what the weather's like. Like, that's all it was. And so that's what I do now. I call random East Coast numbers, and I see how long they'll stay on the phone with me. And then I post them online. And I have been incredibly lucky to talk to some of the sweetest people I think are on the planet, like just honeys. Yeah.
Real true
Yeah.
honeys in the Oxford Dictionary, they would be the definition. And I work on a podcast with the wonderful Canadian songstress Jan Arden.
Mummy Jan, praise be. Yes.
And we did an episode of the show with you, and we came to your home studio, and then Jan stayed for an East Coast cold call, and she
Yes.
joined in, and we happened upon a couple who were huge fans of Jan.
Huge Jan fans.
They
Huge
had
Jan fans.
vinyl. They had
Yeah,
albums
yep,
of Jan's.
yep.
It was crazy. I do think that there is a magic to the Maritimes that, at least here in Canada, people have been fascinated with. There's the Trailer Park Boys, there's the Rankin family, there's Alan Doyle. Like, there is like a down home friendliness that is not in any way manufactured. It is legit. When I go there, my shoulders drop. I start picking up the accent, and you just kind of like chill out, and you're more down to chat. And I think that's really
Yeah.
what you've tapped into, the desire just to chat about nothing, and not to get anything out of it, and not to like
No.
get
Yeah.
anywhere, just to like connect with a person for a moment.
And I think that, I think especially after the pandemic, we've been so starved of connection, and in a place where connection is like, it's a big part of the foundation. I think it was really beautiful to kind of like tap back into that. I just spent a month back on the East Coast as well, and like I was always aware of how special the Maritimes is, but I was really, really reminded when I went home what a beautiful, beautiful place, and that we could all like learn a lot from just the simplicity of connection from the Maritimes. So very lucky.
You kind of have to leave the Maritimes to
Yeah.
really kind of get
Yeah.
what it's all about, and you get away from it, and then you go, oh yeah, no, I this is actually much cooler than the place I thought was cooler than here.
Yeah, it's a special, beautiful place, and I mean, it's extra special when it's sunny 2 months of the year. So I
Yeah.
was lucky enough to go there during one of those sunny months. But yeah, I have I'm very very thankful to the people who have picked up my phone calls, because they've made my heart a lot warmer.
Can you stay with me for another break? Because I want to hear about sort of the TikTok of it all. And I also want to hear about any follow ups you may have received from people who you record the call with. And then, like, later, did they ever track you down? I want to know about that.
Absolutely.
Want to be part of the last show with David Cooper? Call us and join the conversation. 1-888-505-6644.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Checking off the boxes on your to-do list is a great feeling. And when it comes to checking off coverage, a State Farm agent can help you choose an option that's right for you. Whether you prefer talking in person, on the phone, or using the award-winning app, it's nice knowing you have help finding coverage that best fits your needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Cooper's Law tells us that the complexity of a relationship is inversely proportional to its explanation. You're listening to The Last Show with David Cooper.
Welcome back to The Last Show. I am Caitlin Green, filling in for David Cooper, who is probably busy moisturizing like it's his job somewhere in the Nevada desert because he has decided to spend his vacation at Burning Man. He does this annually. It's his annual pilgrimage. It is not for me. I need to be surrounded by walls and indoor plumbing, but you know what? To each their own. Jax Irwin, media personality, broadcaster, podcaster, TikTok superstar. Thank you so much for sticking around and talking to me more about your journey into everyone's phone, because I feel as though, what do you know offhand what your biggest TikTok hit video is? Like how many views it has?
I think my original East Coast
Yeah.
phone call between Instagram and TikTok had like over 30 million views. It was absurd. It was absurd. I have no idea. I didn't see it coming.
Don't you think it's crazy how much content people just obviously consume while they're like lying in bed now?
Yeah, just like on the train, on the toilet, like just scrolling, just scrolling.
Watching
So
you call
wherever you
people.
were, thank you for watching me call people. Wherever you are, thank you, thank you.
So when you make these calls, obviously you're very friendly. As you said when we were sort of setting this up, you like prank calls. I grew up watching prank calls too. Like, did you ever get into like the Jerky Boys and stuff when you were growing up?
Yeah.
But they can be obviously sort of mean-spirited in nature. And I appreciate that your maritime spin on this was like, I want to take prank calls, but make it nice.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, especially in the day and age where, because I'm calling people, I'm not announcing who I am, and I don't it's the day and age where people are getting there's fraudulent folks and
Yes.
people are getting taken advantage of. So when somebody says who is this, I immediately say who it is, and oftentimes I'll say, oh, sorry, wrong number. I don't want anybody, and then at the end of the phone call I'll always say who I am or what's going on here. I never want anybody to leave the phone call being like, am I okay? Or am I losing it? Or did I just get scammed? I never ever want anyone to feel like they got, tricked or on some sort of psychedelic ever.
How many would you say when you set up to like do a cold call, how many does it take until you sort of hit gold?
Oh my God. So that's the thing is I think people assume I always get through to somebody. I can call like 200 people, and sometimes because I literally just call random numbers from the white pages. And sometimes they're out of service, or they won't pick up, or they won't want to talk. So sometimes I'll call 200 people and get nobody. Sometimes I'll call 4 people and get, when we called did the call with Jan Arter, we lucked out on the first couple, I think.
Yeah.
We found somebody, but sometimes I'll go for hundreds, and then sometimes I just won't get a good one. But even when they don't want to talk, my God, they're nice. They're always so
Yeah.
nice. They're like, oh no. I'm like, oh, sorry, I was looking for Janice. They're like, oh, not a problem. Everyone makes mistakes. Not a problem.
Do you ever think about putting together like splicing behind the scenes of it so that everyone can see all the work? First of all the work that goes into being a content creator in 2025. I think you see all this stuff, you see the little snippets, and you assume it's like, oh, someone's just doing this in their spare time. But like, it is a full-time job.
It is. And it's also like, it really hurts my feelings when nobody picks up for like a long. Like it's like, all right, gotta go up into my office and like get rejected from 2 hours straight. It's like it could be hard. It could be
Yeah.
hard on But yeah, I think I want to do some more behind. I mean, Caitlin, I never anticipated that this at all would be what it is now. I didn't think I would have one call, so it's like I kind of just keep doing them, and people are like more. So I'm just kind of riding it. So yeah, I'm just figuring it out as I go, I should say.
Does anyone track you down after the fact? Like once they know they've been recorded, or does their family ever say like, "Oh my God, I saw this. That's my aunt, mom, whoever"?
Yes. Yeah. So I've had a couple of TikTok comments that are like, "Oh my Jesus, this is my cousin," or "No, this is my mom's neighbor," and they're like, "Oh my God, this is Bob at the Legion." Like, and it's cool because
Bob
from
at the
what
Legion.
from what I've heard, because I want to kind of celebrate the people that I'm talking to, right? And like
Mhm.
these folks that are like kind enough to tell me what's going on in the world, like they're I think that we have this misconception that older folks, because that's usually who I get through, are like lonely or not doing much. And a lot of these people that I get through to, like they have a lot going on. So I want to celebrate that part. And I feel like when people in their communities find out that they're on one, that it gives them a chance to kind of like connect with other people from the community. And then they're like, "Oh my God, you hear Margaret got one of those East Coast calls." So I want them to like kind of feel like, yeah, I want a light to be kind of shine on what they're doing in their communities for a little bit. So it's cool. And I have some folks reach out that are like, "Oh my God, Brenda is pumped that she got this call." So yeah.
Brenda. Sorry, they all just sound so great. Have you had, I mean, other than Jan, have you had any like inbound requests yet from sort of like maritime celebs who want to come on and do this? Because I feel like they should be doing that.
I've had quite a few. I've had some really odd ones, but I've had some really good ones. I want to I was just home, like I said, for a month, doing some work. I did one with Steve Murphy, which was absolutely unreal, and people really, really liked that one. And I think next year when I go home for a bit longer, I'm gonna like kind of line up a bunch. I'd like to do, some with the Trailer Park Boys. I'm manifesting this right now, because I want to do some more like kind of bigger Canadian icons, but I would love to do one. Shania Twain, if you're listening, I would love to do one with Shania.
Let's get Queen Shania, I mean, an East Coaster through and through, Anne Murray.
Listen. I've been trying. Anne is busy. I'd love to do a call. Anne, I love you. I'll cut. What is this? Spring Hill? No, Amherst. Where's she from? I'll come wherever. Oxford. I'm coming, baby. I'm coming.
Anne is booked and busy on the golf
I
course. I
know.
think. I
She's
believe
always busy.
she's doing stuff. She's just being Anne Murray. But for everyone listening, I want to know that when I said Anne Murray, you leaned in. You were like all of a sudden like 1 inch from the screen.
The Queen. Okay, Anne Murray. And don't be in a hurry. Yeah.
Jan knows her. Jan Arden knows her. So maybe we can like make that happen.
Jan continues to be the queen of my dreams, always.
She is. She's our Canadian queen. Last but not least, tell me more about your podcast with Adam. So we've got like Left on Red. This is, kind of one of my favorite segments to enjoy, which is where you call people who have been ditched by someone that they were into, and then you guys host the follow-up.
Yeah. So like if you've ever been ghosted and you wondered why, you can call us, and then we're gonna call the person who ghosted you with you secretly listening on the other end. And it's 9 times out of 10 a mess. So we do that. We used to have a segment called Ghosted. It's now called Left on Red. We have new episodes of the entire podcast that come out every Wednesday. We're on a little hiatus right now for August. We're going to be kicking off things again next week. But beyond Left on Red, we talk about makeups, breakups, everything in between, celebrity gossip. And honestly, it's just a really weird hybrid of a straight hockey loving man and a denim wearing lesbian that you usually don't see, but it works. Okay.
It does really
Yeah.
work because he's kind of like your work brother husband.
Yeah, it's an odd pairing, and one of our biggest compliments is like they're like, I wouldn't expect you two to be together or have anything in common, yet you have everything in common. He's my best friend. I love him to death, and I just love making content with him.
You guys are honestly so much fun to listen to, so much fun to watch on social. So I encourage anyone who hasn't already checked out Jax and Adam Wild together, you have to do that. Please go follow them. Treat yourself to listening to East Coast Cold Calls. Jax, honestly, I think at some point, one of the maritime provinces is going to have to reach out to you on behalf of their tourism board. Like there needs to be a collab here. I feel that your skill as a maritime correspondent is being underutilized in this marketplace. And I mean, I'm going to be your agent for 1 second and put my agent hat hat on and say, make this happen, world. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I love you, and I think that one day we will go with Anne Murray and rave in the Maritimes. That's what I think is going to happen.
I love it. We're manifesting
Let's go.
this. Okay.
Absolutely.
Taylor Swift isn't worth $1.6 billion for no reason. She can sing, she can write the perfect pop song, she can play the guitar, but she can also market. She is a marketing genius. In another lifetime, I swear she was the CEO, CFO, COO, CMO of at least several multinational corporations. She knows how to tease. She knows how to promote. She knows how to create a moment and a feeling and a buzz. So our next guest is here to break down why Swifties are all but confirming that she will finally be taking the stage at the Super Bowl halftime show in 2026. This conspiracy theory can sound a little crazy. It's filled with a lot of numbers. You might want to get out your whiteboard, but I promise you it's legit. Plus, we are going to play a round of a game that I like to call Will You Watch It? Because there's honestly just too much to watch. That's coming up next, all on The Last Show.
Want to be part of The Last Show with David Cooper? Call us and join the conversation. 1-888-505-6644.
Lowe's knows that no matter your paint project, saving is at the top of your list. That's why when you shop today, you can buy one, get one free select Valspar and HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams one-coat coverage interior paints via rebate. Shop these deals in-store or online today at Lowe's. We help, you save. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Offer valid 8/21 through 9/3.
Keep listening to The Last Show with David Cooper, because the alien invasion can wait. The Last Show with David Cooper.
You're listening to The Last Show. I'm Caitlin Green, sitting in the still warm chair of David Cooper, who has escaped to the Nevada desert for Burning Man. That is my nightmare, but that is his reality right now. Joining me is one of my very favorite media personalities and one of the best to ever do it in the world of entertainment reporting. Every time I've sat down with her for a radio hit, or I've listened to her podcast, or previously watched her on TV, like on the red carpet for the Oscars, I've thought, this is who I want to hear talk about entertainment. And now I've convinced her to do just that with us. So please welcome a woman far too attractive to be on the radio, Danielle Graham.
You are too kind. That was like a Jason Kelsey level introduction. I feel like that's how he introduced Taylor Swift. I feel so flattered. Thank you.
It's a debate, really. You're like, do I do the intros in front of the guest, or do I record them after the interview when you kind of like know what you've talked about? But I do like the process of introducing someone and then watching them have to sit there while you talk about them.
It's mortifying, and I'm
It
so
is.
glad.
It's
And
like
I
when
hate
someone
flattery more than anything. So
everyone
thank you.
does. Everyone hates it. It's like when I introduce a guest, it is like when someone brings over a birthday cake and sings happy birthday in a restaurant. It's the same look on everyone's face.
Oh, it is just like you want it to be over so fast. Like I want to watch that in 2 times speed, 3 times even if I could.
I don't know if you listen to the podcast Las Culturistas ever.
Yes.
Okay, so I love how they make the guests sit there for so long while they talk about all of their accomplishments before they cue them in. And when I've started watching them on video, I just think, oh my gosh, the guest just must be sat there in horror, because it is a format thing. Like you kind of want to do it, and you do kind of want to make people sit through it.
But if you're not mortified, something's wrong with you.
I
If
know.
you're not mortified when people list off all of your accomplishments and why you're so wonderful, you're crazy.
That's a good point. It is a bit of a personality test. Like it's kind of a psych test.
Yes,
Okay,
it
well,
absolutely is.
you've passed with flying colors.
Thank you.
But we're not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about Taylor Swift and the halftime show. The question that has been burning and kind of, it's been around and omnipresent ever since Taylor Swift became like the megastar that she is, but
Yeah.
also since she started dating a legit football star, Super Bowl champion, Travis Kelce. And now Swifties are convinced that she is going to be performing at the 2026 Super Bowl. They've been saying this for a long time, but it feels like this is a little bit more legit. You are boots on the ground with this stuff. Do you think it's going to happen?
I think it's all but been announced, hasn't it?
Yes.
There's just right? There's just too much evidence to support not even a theory at this point. I'm going all in. I'm going to say it's happening. Like get prepared for your halftime show featuring Taylor Swift. So there was obviously Taylor's famous for her Easter eggs. There was a bunch of Easter eggs dropped throughout the New Heights podcast, and they were picked up pretty quickly. And
she's a subtle queen, but some of them were a little more obvious. So she kept referencing the number 60. She said, I think about sourdough 60% of the time, which is a very specific number. You start getting into some of the math and you start doing some of the research. The San Francisco 49ers are hosting the 60th Super Bowl, and their mascot, Sourdough Sam. So that adds up. And then it was also the number 47 came up. She complimented Jason Kelsey for his 47-second intro to her. That number came up a few times. Where the Super Bowl is being held was the 47th stop on the Eras Tour. So the numerology is there, and we know she loves this. Taylor also has said in the past that she wasn't going to do the Super Bowl until she owned her music.
And now she
and
does.
now she owns her music.
And she has a big project to promote.
Exactly. And this new album. And then also it's this alignment thing. Like you said, this is possibly and very likely Travis's last year playing football. Whether or not he makes it is the big question. Like the pressure on that
I was going to say, no pressure, Travis.
Like at all. It's not like he's just going to be there. He's got to win all season with the team to get to the Super Bowl, right? It's not just like you get a pass because your girlfriend's performing. So I think it feels very serendipitous for this year to be the year. And it would be hard to ignore that if you're Taylor and Travis, to be like, you know what, if I'm going to do it, I might as well do it while you're still potentially going to be playing in the big game.
The other thing that I find funny about Taylor with her Easter eggs is they're so specific, as you were pointing out, and they're tied to these random numbers. I mean, she, in her visit to his podcast, she thanks Jason for his warm welcome by, quote, screaming for like 47 seconds. And these are things that when I say them to other people who read the headline, like, oh, Taylor Swift is going to be the Super Bowl halftime show this year, and they'll ask me because I'm obsessed with this stuff, do you think this is true? And I quote something like that, and they think that I'm unwell. But really, she actually does do this stuff. This isn't just smoke and mirrors. This is not a pop culture conspiracy theory. The minutia of her Easter eggs have been proven time and again. And she is just, she's breadcrumbing all these Swifties all the way to the Super Bowl.
That's right. And this is a safe space for you to share those theories with me because I also love the hunt for the Easter egg. I think it's so much fun. And she is such a master of it. And she loves it and fans love it. So it's this really fun kind of, it's a scavenger hunt to figure out what she's trying to tell us. And she does love foreshadowing, right?
Yeah. Yes,
she loves foreshadowing her projects and her work and having fans along for the ride. So I'm all in for it. You're right. If you start talking about like sourdough a little bit too much, people are going to be like, are you okay? But it's there.
Like as you listen to this, if you try to take the information that Danielle and I are espousing right now and share it with people in your life as proof that she is going to be the halftime performer, they may also look at you and think, what are you talking about? But I promise you, it's real. She really does do this stuff. So I look forward to seeing her. And also, so her new album that's going to be coming out is called The Life of a Showgirl. And it is so colorful and it is so bold and so performative. I mean, her catalog, I don't know how she would ever select songs to play at the halftime show. She's going to run out. The medley would go on for 2 hours. But I do think that this album, this project, looks like something that will just be so fun to perform and so perfect for the scale of the halftime show.
That's such a good point because we're seeing the imagery of it and this like showgirl-esque, these costumes and the headpieces and what you can do with a stage with a theme like showgirl is going to be. It's going to be wonderful. I cannot wait. Yep. But you're right. Where do you she's got, the Eras Tour was such a massive success. And look how she mashed up all those eras. But that was the course of 2 hours.
I know.
How do we distill and thread in the new music with the old music and the old eras and the new eras? And it's going to be spectacular. She didn't come this far and wait this long for it to be a mediocre show. This is going to be one of the best. And honestly, I really do think Taylor's the kind of performer I love to see at a halftime show. It really is just the most fun to watch. The performance, the dancing, the special guests, as you said, it really is going to make for a fantastic show. And I'm calling it. It's happening.
Yeah, because hot take. I like Kendrick Lamar as an artist and I really appreciate his writing. But I did find that, again, as an artist, his type of music, kind of the cadence of his style, the cadence of his voice, didn't know that it lent itself super well to the halftime show last year. It wasn't like I thought it was a flop. I think he did a lot of stuff artistically with the stage design and with the setup. I just felt like this is a really big show. This is like a Vegas residency type of show.
Yeah.
And he's such a creative powerhouse that I felt like, I hope that for next Super Bowl, they kind of get back to the glitz and the glamour of it all.
Yeah, you need a Bruno Mars, a big performer, a Lady Gaga, as you said. That's the kind of show that I think people love to see during the Super Bowl. I agree. Kendrick was great for all the reasons. I just don't know that it hit that like, bam, big performance.
Now, the other question is, are Travis and Taylor engaged? Are they going to be getting married? This circulates as much as the halftime show rumors. That one I really don't know about. A lot of people think that these two are endgame. And there was some speculation over the summer when Travis was sharing images from a boys' trip that a lot of people said looked a lot like a bachelor party. But I don't know if that has any validity. I feel like this isn't the time to plan a wedding for either of them career-wise.
Well, that's also it. I really did expect an engagement this summer. That's what I predicted earlier in this year. They've been together 2 years. I think they are endgame. I mean, it'd be really hard to convince me that these two aren't it for each other after watching the New Heights interview. There's such an ease. There's such a comfort. Even the little windows in which she let us into their world about, I was in the kitchen, he was gaming in the other room. It sounded very much like cohabitation and clearly spending a lot of time together. But you're right. I think if we got the engagement announcement this summer, we could have a wedding maybe next summer. But now we can't get engaged launching a football season in a matter of weeks and a new album. Like, and Travis has said, you know, he really needs to get his head down this year. He got a little bit distracted last year by some of the opportunities that were presented to him in Hollywood, and it did affect him. He wasn't as focused on the game as he should have been, and now he is intending to show up for his team and for himself to really perform at the best that he possibly can. And being distracted by wedding planning and like, hey, do you want to talk about seating charts today? No, that can't happen. That just can't happen.
Okay, I'm Caitlin Green in for David Cooper on The Last Show. My guest is Danielle Graham. We are going to play a little game up next that I have concocted called Will You Watch It? And I want to go over some of the big movies and the big shows that are making headlines with Danielle.
Want to be part of The Last Show with David Cooper? Call us and join the conversation. 1-888-505-6644.
Prime delivery is fast. How fast are we talking? We're talking puzzle toys and lick pad delivered so fast you can get this puppy under control fast. We're talking chew toys at your door without really waiting fast. Pee pads, cooling mat, and peg hammer fast and fast. And there's training TREATS faster than you can say sit fast. And now we can all relax and order these matching hoodies to get cozy and cute fast. Fast free delivery. It's on Prime.
Your above-average intelligence brought you here. It deserves above-average absurdity. This is The Last Show with David Cooper.
Welcome back to The Last Show. I'm Caitlin Green in for David Cooper. Danielle Graham, media personality, broadcaster, and podcaster, is here with me for a little game I like to call Will You Watch It? This is sort of a variation on something I do with my own friends and with other people who work in media. When I see something start to circulate in the news, I always wonder, I'm like, is anyone going to watch this? Who's going to race and go see this? So I want to know if you are down for the movie that's going to be coming out on August 29th, Caught Stealing. This is the new one with Zoe Kravitz and Austin Butler. Are you into this? Are you as into this as me?
Okay. Initially, I would have said maybe not, but now because it's been dominating my news feed, they've done the work and they've promoted it to the degree where I'm like, well, I'm all in. I guess we're going to the movies.
Yeah.
I really am fascinated by Austin Butler as an actor and a performer because of the way he is really a very intriguing person. And then he pours so much of that into these performances. We know he went full method with Elvis, like totally abandoned his life, friendships. His entire personality was gone for all that period of time. So he's really poured himself into this one too. He's in incredible shape. Like, let's call a spade here. All we're seeing is shirtless Austin Butler all over. And then now, because we're seeing him and Zoe Kravitz on the red carpet, I'm like, okay, this looks right up my alley. I'm in.
Because he, I heard, is recently single or fairly recently single, and then also same with Zoe Kravitz, because she was previously together with Channing Tatum and now she's single. And the second that breakup happened, everyone started wondering if it was because she had hit it off with her co-star on this movie, Austin Butler. But I do think this is part of the Hollywood PR machine where they have the two stars, if it's a man and a woman, and they're both, let's be honest, absurdly hot. They're like
top tier hot, like in the upper echelon of hotness.
Screen melting hot. I mean, if you're if you're in a movie, you're probably very good looking, but this is even in the world of good looking people, they are A game. And so I do believe that the PR people at these studios tell them, you know what, just be a little coy on the red carpet. And it's like Jessica Chastain, and I forget who her co-star was, and they did the armpit smell on the red carpet for their movie.
Forgot about that.
Oh, shoot. What was his name? Oh, this is going to bother me so much that I can't remember.
I can't think of it either. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, neither can I. I can like think of his face perfectly. But so like it's the same thing that they do with any of these people now as part of their press run is they make them engage in this, are they secretly dating? And it kind of works. It's like Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney. They did that for them around the time of their rom-com. So yeah, I think this is still kind of what's going on with those two. But I am really excited about the movie. I think just because I appreciate a very aggressive PR run. I mean, Austin Butler is out doing absolutely everything. And he just did he did Subway Takes. I'm not sure if you ever watched that. It's like an Instagram show. Okay, it's great. It's hosted by kind of a comedian and now just content creator. And he sits down. It started out predominantly with comedians, but now he sits down with big celebrities. He sits down with politicians, and they're on the subway in New York, and they're each holding a Metro card as the microphone, and they give a hot take. And then they engage on that hot take. And Austin Butler did it. And this man is so captivating and just so lovely. And he'll go anywhere to promote a movie. He's incredibly hardworking. When he was doing the promo run for Elvis, he actually came in to the radio station that I used to work at. And it was crazy. Like his presence in real life is very kind. He really lingers and holds eye contact. Like he is incredibly disarming. So if there was something that happened between him and Zoe, I wouldn't be surprised, because I would dare to say that almost anyone who spent that much time with him would probably be down.
Right. No one would be like, you know what? Not for me.
Yeah. No.
I'm good. Thanks.
Thanks.
I've spent a lot of time obviously researching and getting to know these like movie stars. And with Austin Butler, the thing that keeps coming up is he's just a really considerate person.
Yeah.
He's just considerate of those around him. And as you said, when you had that interaction with him, same thing. And that is such an attractive quality for anyone to be met with, to have someone consider them and think of them. And that's what I see on the red carpet with he and Zoe. Yes, of course, they're like screen melting hot, as you said, but he just looks very gentlemanly as well. But it does take just the subtle touch of an arm to kind of guide her in front of the cameras for people to be like, oh, what's going on there? And you know what? Lean into it. They did. And now, Caitlin, we're talking about it on your show. So they've done. It works. That are they, aren't they thing is as tale as old as time. It is the oldest trick in the book, and it works.
I'd love to say
there's a reason it works.
Like I'm not above it. I can't claim to be above it. I will talk about it with friends. I'll probably talk about it tonight at dinner. So good. We've talked about it here now.
Yes.
The story of the Guinness family is going primetime. So Netflix is tapping into the story of the Guinness Brewery in Ireland. One of my favorite beers, just as an aside. So it's set in the 1860s. It's called the House of Guinness. And it's going to be all about the inheritance, the ambition, the pressure of growing the company. People are calling it HBO's Succession meets Peaky Blinders. So you could
it's my favorite show of all time is Peaky Blinders.
Is it? My favorite show of all time is Succession.
Look at us.
Look at that.
I love Succession because I loved Peaky Blinders so much. No, I'm all in. I don't know why I never considered that Guinness was a family. I just thought of it as a brand.
Me too. I didn't realize it was a family. I didn't realize it was like a rich and powerful family. I didn't realize that they had any kind of scandals. I mean, as every rich family does. So I'm not usually one for a period piece. Like I'll give it a bit of time, but that is where I tend to have like a 1 or 2 season in me for a period piece. That's what happened to me with Peaky Blinders. It happened with The Gilded Age. It happened with Downton Abbey. So I'm going to try to like stick this one out because the second that anyone compared it to Succession, like I was all in.
I think it has everything that you need it to have. It's going to have those family dynamics and jockeying for position and who is the heir and the successor and the drama. I'm with you on the period piece. I was very adverse to those for a long time. Just not really my kind of thing. But absolutely fell in love with Peaky Blinders, and I am now watching season 3 of The Gilded Age. I'm all in.
You are?
And
yeah, okay. Yeah. I need to click back into that one. And I love Cillian Murphy so much. I do find him like an Austin Butler. I find him particularly captivating on screen. Yes. He has such like an actor's face that I do. Yeah, okay, maybe I'll get back into Peaky Blinders. Okay, and then last but certainly not least, the new season of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. My apologies in advance to people who do not share my reality disorder, but I have it. I cannot conceal it. And I know that you are a recent adoptee, a recently crowned fan of reality TV.
Yeah, I'm all in now. Take all my money, take all my
Yes.
time, like just push in. Yeah,
We
that's
got you.
it. Like I used to watch like shows at night. My husband and I would choose a show and watch it together.
Mhm.
Now I'm vanishing to another room.
Okay, so he doesn't watch with you.
No, does your husband watch with you?
Yeah, because I've poisoned him. And you have to nail the gateway drug. That's the thing.
What is it?
So the gateway drug, at least for us, and for a lot of straight men, I find, is below deck.
Okay.
So they can get
Okay.
down with the upstairs, downstairs drama of the people who work on the ship and the people who are the guests on the ship. I also think it's just kind of probably fun for them to watch people maneuver these giant motor yachts or the sailing yacht, which is another very successful thing. And because there
Okay.
are male cast members on the show, I do think it's a better entry point for guys. So we start with the below deck and then
That's a hot tip.
it is. And the craziest drama you'll probably ever see is original back in the day seasons of Real Housewives of New York. I don't know any other series that includes a cast member remove her prosthetic leg and throw it at another cast member. But that happens on Roni, and no one, even the biggest sports fan guy, can turn away from that. Like once you see that happen, you're in. It's in your bloodstream.
There would be something wrong with you if you weren't.
Yep. When someone says the only
Fundamentally.
thing fake about me is my leg and then throws it at their cast member, you have to appreciate the camp and the commitment to the bit.
Oh, that is incredible. Okay, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try to get Randall in using
it. Yeah, I'll put a marker.
using your below deck suggestion. Thank you very much. But
Yeah.
no, I'm in. It's consumed so much of my time. And now I'm obsessed with these reunion shows.
Oh, I can't get
I
enough.
can't
The
wait
after
for the reunion
shows.
shows.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, so Salt Lake City. Do you watch Salt Lake City yet?
I don't, but it's now on my list because
Okay.
I spent the summer watching Love Island UK, which
Like
took
me.
up a lot of time,
Like
a lot of
everyone, 'cause
bandwidth.
There's 5 million episodes.
It's on every day.
Yeah, it's on
It's
every
a big
day.
commitment.
Yeah.
Plus, we have families.
Yeah,
There's
we have
like
lives
other
to live.
things in my life.
I know.
We have whole lives.
Danielle, it has been such a pleasure to talk to you about our shared reality TV disorder and obsession with pop culture. You are a ray of sunshine. Please go listen to her podcast, In 3. My gosh, I love hearing your takes on everything, and follow her on Instagram at Danielle Graham.
And that was great. Thank you so much, Caitlin.
Want to be part of the last show with David Cooper? Call us and join the conversation. 1-888-505-6644.
This episode is brought to you by Greenlight. Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
This is your invitation to a journey where relationships are dissected, science is simplified, and the news is hilariously twisted. The Last Show with David Cooper.
Welcome back to The Last Show. I'm Caitlin Green in for David Cooper, and I'm joined by Alanna McGinn. She's a sleep expert, founder of Good Night Sleep Site. This is the #1 resource for anyone who's struggling to get a good night's rest, especially families, especially people who are going through any sort of change in their life. And I can officially co-sign on Alanna's credentials because she has helped many people I know get settled with their sleep, but me specifically, you are the one responsible for my son going from waking up every 2 hours as a child, like as a little baby, to sleeping. The first night I tried your method, he slept full 6 hours. And when he woke up, we could kind of like go in and then pat him and then he would go back down and put himself to sleep. And so, yeah, I think you're a good guru. And a lot of people they sort of need that hand holding as they're sleep training their baby or sleep training themselves. They just need someone to say, you can do this and hang in there. And that's kind of like what you're here to do for all of our listeners today.
First of all, I love hearing that. He's just such a cutie. I love him so much. Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of it. The plan, I always say the plan itself is like 10% of the process, whether you're working with your baby, your toddler, your child, yourself. It's the support and it's the guidance. And my job is always like, I want to make you the expert of your child's sleep or your own sleep or your teen's sleep, so that you don't need me forever. Right. So,
Yeah. So I think everyone thinks about sleep disturbances and we think about sleep training. I think immediately of obviously having a baby, having a new child, but there's sleep disturbances at every single stage of life. I mean, my son is now 3 years old. He has his own sleep issues that will pop up here and there. And because I've gone through your process, I now know that I have the confidence to be like, no, we can stick with it. We can kind of right this ship. But I think about, my parents, for example, they've gotten older and now all of a sudden they're waking up at 4 a.m. They're waking up at, in the middle of the night. I think of my friends who have teenagers. All of a sudden they cannot get enough sleep and they're worried their kids are oversleeping. Like, why are they sleeping until 11 a.m.? Are they lazy? Are they hungover? Like, what's going on with them? So there is something to be said for reevaluating at different stages, not just when you have a baby.
Absolutely. And this time of year, the kind of back at it routine, mm, this is a big one, especially for teens. This is when we get a lot of parents coming to us with inquiries on helping our teens get back on track with sleep, because we know during the summer routines are out the door for all of us, for our little kids, for ourselves, but especially for our teens. And good sleep is so important for that age group in terms of cognitive abilities, in terms of high school retaining information, immune system. Same for us. We're getting back at it. We're getting back into routine. So for parents or grandparents as well, this is a time where you really want to start reevaluating your sleep health and make some changes. And a lot of them are lifestyle changes to better your sleep health for sure.
So if you have a teen and you're heading back into the new school year, and like you said, maybe they've had summer vacations, maybe they've been at camp, they're staying up too late, they're oversleeping, but all of a sudden they're going to have to like get up and be out the door at 8 a.m. again. What is some gold standard advice that you say you give to a lot of your clients?
I would say two things. One thing is understand the sleep needs of your tween or teen and understand that as they enter that stage of puberty, their shift in melatonin release changes. So melatonin is our natural sleep hormone. It's what drives our circadian rhythm. It's what prepares our body to sleep. For younger kids and for adults, it's normally released earlier in the bedtime routine evening, right? So we can hit those usual bedtimes. But for our teens, as they enter that puberty stage, it's now shifting later at night. So, parents and teens even get really frustrated on like, I can't fall asleep till 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning because I'm just not tired. And that is showing that shift in that melatonin release. So understand that sometimes it's just physiologically impossible for your teen to hit that 9 or 10 p.m. bedtime, but incorporating a great bedtime routine is important. So the second thing is getting together as a family, sitting down, I call it a family sleep meeting, and creating those family sleep rules and working on them together. So, okay, let's look at bedtime routine. I call it a slow down hour. We're all going to take 1 hour before bedtime, teens, parents, and break it up into 3 20-minute increments. So the first 20 minutes is let's prepare for the next day. So does that mean packing our lunch, making sure our homework's all done, making sure, writing out that to-do list, whatever is going to be like swimming in your brain when you're trying to fall asleep.
This is me. I need this. I'm not a teen.
Right? And just 20 minutes of doing it. It could be like picking out your outfit. I mean, I have 3 teens. I know how long that can take some time, right? So just like picking out the outfit. The next 20 minutes is getting ready for bed. So brushing your teeth, washing your face, doing all the skincare, especially with teens, that can take a long time, showering, all of those things, right? Getting ready for bed. And then the last 20 minutes is really incorporating any kind of relaxing activity that works for you. So meditation, mindful breathing, mindful thinking, of course. But if that's something that isn't really going to get you there, it could just be reading. It could be just having a conversation. For us as adults, your partner, we're kind of like two ships sailing because we're dealing with kids and extracurriculars and doing bedtime might be the only time where you can kind of communicate and talk to each other, right? So whatever's going to get you in that relaxing state to sleep, and everybody work on that together.
And ideally low stimulation, aka you're not just scrolling on your phone.
You're not just scrolling at your phone, but I am going to say I have a different stance on tech than you might think. You and I might have had this conversation before. I can't remember, but I understand the beauty of those evening hours where you just want to, like, your responsibilities are done for the day, your dinner's cleaned up, your chores are done. Like, you just want time to do whatever you want to do.
And if that is watching one episode of your favorite show because it just helps you forget the day, like we all have our feel-good shows, I'm all for it. Doesn't mean binge the entire season till like 2:00 in the morning, but watch an episode. Or if there's like a friend that you know is going to like fill your tank or get your mind off things and you want to FaceTime them or text with them, do it. Stay away from the news if the news is triggering. Like set boundaries on what you're absorbing in your evening hours. I think is more important than just cutting it out completely sometimes.
How much sleep do teens need? Because the funny combination that I remember when I was a teen was that all of a sudden I found it really difficult to fall asleep earlier. And yet I felt as though I needed more sleep. So it was like this cruel imbalance where all of a sudden, school starts 8:30. If you have extracurriculars, you're sometimes going into school even earlier than that to do track and field or swimming or whatever that is. But you don't want to go to sleep until 11 p.m. at night. And all of a sudden your body wants you to sleep for 12 hours.
Yeah. I mean, they need more sleep than we do. You're still looking at like 10 to 11 hours. So it's difficult when you're factoring in, like you said, extracurricular, after school jobs, the amount of homework that increases once they get into high school. So this is where, as parents and as teens, it's something that we need to work together on and really protect sleep when we can. So there might be a couple nights a week where those 10 to 11 hours are hard to get because of all that I just listed. But on the nights where you can really focus and laser in on a good 9, 10, 11 hour night of sleep, that's when you really need to kind of do it. And it's like the 80-20 rule, right? 80% of the time, protect the amount, protect your environment, protect your sleep schedule. 20% of the time, life happens. We can't always achieve that every single night, and that's okay.
How do you feel about naps? Do those count towards your overall sleep hours?
Well, a lot of people ask me, like, can I nap? Is it okay to nap? So to answer your question, if you are a person who isn't struggling with sleep, a nap is okay every now and then. If you're a person who is really finding it difficult to sleep at night, finding it difficult to fall asleep at bedtime or in the middle of the night, those are the individuals where I say try not to nap throughout the day. And I know it would seem like those would be the people that you think need the nap, but we don't want to rob our sleep drive. Our sleep drive is like, think of it like a gas tank. We want that nice and full when we go to bed, right? That sleep gas tank nice and full when we go to bed. So a nap is going to take that gas out. And then all you need, NASA said a 20-minute nap is like 24-minute nap is the perfectly timed nap. So it doesn't need to be a long nap.
Yeah, so if it's good enough for astronauts, then it's probably good enough for you.
That's what I think too.
Okay. My guest is Alanna McGinn. She is a wonderful sleep expert, the founder of Goodnight Sleep Site. I'm going to steal you for another break because I want to talk about something that I'm noticing picking up for people as they age, and that is that middle of the night wakings, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Some people are just starting their days earlier than ever, and it's making them feel pretty tired. So let's discuss that up next.
Want to be part of the last show with David Cooper? Call us and join the conversation. 1-888-505-6644.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Broadcasting from the intersection of chaos and more chaos. The Last Show with David Cooper.
Welcome back to The Last Show. I'm Caitlin Green in for David Cooper. I am talking to Alanna McGinn. She is a sleep expert. She founded Goodnight Sleep Site. Please check her out on Instagram. Please check out her podcast. Her podcast is incredible. It's called The Bedtime Edit. There's tons of episodes up for you on the Women in Media Podcast Network. Alanna, I want to talk to you about what you're calling the messy middle for people and how this is impacting their sleep cycles. Something that you're dealing with right now is a free email course that you've got all set up to stop 3 a.m. wakings. So what causes these middle of the night wakings? And we're not talking about infants. Like I have them too, but I hear so many of people my parents' age dealing with this. And sometimes like they don't want to start their day at 4 a.m.
No, they do not. So I work primarily with midlife women.
Okay.
So that 3 a.m. and that's what I call that. That's why what I mean about the messy middle is, we go through so many different transitions in life, in that midlife space. So for myself, my program kind of spawned from going through divorce at 45, right? So, but it's not just divorce. It's, what I'm doing in, a few days, shipping my eldest off to university. It's like, kids are leaving the house. Some kids are coming back into the house. You're changing jobs, careers, relationships, dealing with aging parents, caregiving, that sandwich generation. It's a lot. So our stress is at an all-time high during this stage of life. And of course, that's going to affect our sleep and that's going to affect that 3 a.m. waking. So it's a common issue that I hear from women, not just women though, men as well. Why do I keep waking up at 3 a.m. and what is the reason for that? So there could be a few reasons for that. One is stress management. Have we focused on have we tried to work through that problem or that issue that is going to plague us when we go to bed or keep us up at 3 a.m. throughout the day so that we're not busy trying to work on it throughout the night? And that could be done through techniques like constructive worry, through, speaking to a professional, whatever it's going to do, moving your body, getting in that physical or physical movement, whatever you're going to do to kind of lower your stress levels. So it's a lot easier to fall back asleep if you do wake up in the middle of the night. Also, one thing that I don't think people understand too is what time are you going to bed? A lot of people would think that I'm going to be telling you to go to bed earlier, but my usual tip is your bedtime might be too early. Meaning, if you're going to bed at 9 o'clock at night or even 10 o'clock at night, that's 4 a.m. waking. That's like 6 or 7 hours of sleep. But your body might just be telling you, okay, I've had enough. I'm ready to get up. So maybe we need to shift that bedtime back a little bit. We also need to focus on with that age group, but also with our older generation as well, is how much liquid are we consuming throughout the night?
Yeah.
What are we, right? That's
Yes.
gonna force some wake ups for sure. What are we consuming? Are we eating big meals where now our body is busy working on digesting as food and not busy on getting that restorative sleep? Our blood sugar levels, is there that drop at 3 a.m.? So there's a lot of reasons why you could be waking up at 3 a.m. One reason that I see primarily is that stress management component and really working on dumping your brain and clearing your thoughts throughout the day so you're not busy working on it in the middle of the night.
I was going to say, you might actually have a bit of an honorary PhD because you are telling me so much that I've already heard from my CBT therapist. And, she's a psychologist. She's gone to school for this for ages. And so much of your advice directly mirrors the really, really key tools behind CBT. And that is when you're dealing with a period of high stress, a lot of change, the advice is to sort of set aside time throughout the day. They call it worry time. And the idea is like you acknowledge how you're feeling, you help yourself process this, but then you recognize that ruminating on it forever is not actually going to help you solve any of these problems. It is not going to clear your mind, and it certainly isn't going to set you up for a good night's sleep. So, like setting aside that time during the day, really good idea. Also, like you said, moving your body. I cannot believe the difference in my sleep outcome when I have gone for a run, when I have even just gone for a long walk, when I've had a busy day of cleaning up around the house. I do notice that I sleep better. And how do you feel about devices? So a lot of the new devices like the Oura Ring or the Whoop Band or whatever it is, they involve a lot of sleep metrics. And I have found that my friends that I have that wear the rings or the bands or whatever it is, they become really obsessed with those sleep metrics. And it's kind of a catch-22. Like it's nice data to have, but I almost feel like they should gather that data for a month and then stop paying attention to it because they wake up and are like, oh, my sleep number was really low, or like my HRV was off last night. And I just don't know that it's helping them.
So, I have a love-hate relationship with those devices because if we're looking at things like the Oura Ring or, the Apple Watch and the metrics that you're getting from that, I think it's great because I think it's getting people to start focusing on their sleep health because that was never really a focus in our overall pillars of health. We always focused on, physical activity, on eating well, which again, two very important things, but really the amount of sleep or the quality of sleep we got was never something that we felt we really needed to work on. So I do like those devices for that reason. The hate of those devices is exactly what you said, is people, I don't, here I am telling everybody what to do in terms of sleep, but I also don't want people to be like hyper focused on their sleep health because being hyper focused on anything
is never a good thing, right? So I don't want there to be that hyper focus, and also understand that the information you're getting from these devices isn't necessarily as accurate as you would think. The best way to fully monitor your sleep is to have a actual sleep study done where they are monitoring your brain waves, monitoring your breathing, how your body's moving. So we're not there yet. I'm sure we will be there within seconds. Technology is changing in this world, but we're not there yet.
So it's a funny thing you mentioned about sleep studies because, I was referred to one. I'm someone who has incredibly active dreams, so much so that they can be disruptive to my quality of sleep. I wake up multiple times and I've had this forever. I mean, they're not always distressing, but they're like movies that play the second I close my eyes. And so I had once been referred to a sleep study just to kind of get, like you said, that ultimate metric of how much disruption is this causing me. But I didn't go because I thought to myself, how well am I going to sleep in some random clinic hooked up to a bunch of machines? And so I chickened out and didn't go. I talked myself out of it. How did those sleep studies work if you've ever been referred to one? Do they actually are they helpful?
They are. And I've actually had one done. I thought I had sleep apnea. I mean, being a sleep expert, I'm very, I'm very heightened to the symptoms of sleep apnea, but also my dad has severe sleep apnea. So not to say sleep apnea runs in your family, but it can. So I have had a study done. And yeah, listen, are you getting the best night of sleep possible? No, because you are hooked up head to toe to, wires and monitors and everything. But it's so important to get it done if you need to get it done. And, from my experience, I thought I didn't sleep a wink. You'd be surprised how much you actually sleep and how much information they can get from the time that you do sleep. Because I'm like, this is not even going to work. I'm not even sleeping, but apparently I was, and they were able to monitor what they needed to monitor. So, sleep, I'm just talking about sleep apnea, but sleep studies can diagnose circadian rhythm disorders, restless-leg syndrome. I mean, so many different sleep disorders that are so important to be diagnosed and then get the proper treatment for it, because it can affect your health down the line, right? Especially sleep apnea.
And I think, if you have been struggling, not just because I've done this and immediately did see the value, but it does make sense because you get experts in so many places of your life. I think sleep is an area that I truly, in my heart, believe people should turn to an expert for more frequently than they do, because you do need that hand holding. You need someone to say, stick with it. It's a little bit of therapy. So I think what you do is so valuable. And I know so many people in my life that I've referred to you and I know could directly benefit from this. So if you're listening and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I also am tired, I have insomnia, I have all of these things, you have a free email course that's currently set up to stop these 3 a.m. wakings. How can people get involved with that?
So if you go to my website, AlannaMcGinn.com, 2 N's in Alanna, McGinn and 2 N's in McGinn, AlannaMcGinn.com, you will see the free email course that you can sign up. I also work one-on-one with clients. I have a DIY messy middle program if you're more of a self-led learner and you just want to do it at your own pace. All the information is at AlannaMcGinn.com.
Perfect. And you also have the Bedtime Edit podcast. You can follow Alanna on Instagram. We will include any of this information in the show notes. Of course, this radio show is also a podcast, so all of that information can be found there. Thank you so much for joining me today, Alanna. It's been wonderful to speak with you.
Want to be part of the last show with David Cooper? Call us and join the conversation. 1-888-505-6644.
At Blinds.com, it's not just about window treatments. It's about you, your style, your space, your way. Whether you DIY or want the pros to handle it all, you'll have the confidence of knowing it's done right. From free expert design help to our 100% satisfaction guarantee, everything we do is made to fit your life and your windows. Because at Blinds.com, the only thing we treat better than windows is you. Visit Blinds.com now for up to 50% off with minimum purchase plus a professional measure at no cost. Rules and restrictions apply.
Smart, sharp, and slightly unhinged. Late night's fresh perspective. The Last Show with David Cooper.
Welcome back to The Last Show. I am Caitlin Green, filling in for David Cooper. What do you do if your therapist dies? Believe it or not, I have not one but 2 therapists, and somehow This is a question that's never crossed my mind. Maybe that's because I've had so much therapy, I no longer fear mortality. But it's a question my guest, family and marriage therapist Laurel Van Der Toorn, has considered. And it leads us to a larger conversation around grief and attachment. This topic is of keen interest to me. What do you do if your beloved therapist gets sick or, God forbid, dies?
Yeah. No one likes to think or talk about this, but it's actually been on my mind a lot recently. I actually got very sick at the beginning of the year. I'm okay now, but I had to very quickly step away from my practice. And, I had a lot of feelings about having to really quickly kind of, hand my clients to someone else if they wanted it. And then, fortunately, I fully recovered and came back, but still having to do kind of the work with people around what was that like for you? And what questions do you have about what happened to me? And it's interesting because therapy is a directional relationship. The
Yeah.
therapist shouldn't be talking about themselves a lot, but we're human and life happens. We have these, fallible bodies. And yeah, I'm really eager to talk about it.
I wish I knew more about my therapist. So maybe it's not professionally appropriate, but whenever they reveal a little piece about their lives, I just feel so touched. I don't know what that says about me. But like one of them got a puppy and explained that she was dealing with a lot of stress around puppy training. She revealed some information about her daughter's experience at summer camp, like all that stuff. I mean, I think it is the reason why you have a therapist is because you like that human connection with them. And while they are a support for you, they are human, even though I do kind of view sometimes some of my therapists as superhuman. But yeah, like what happens when the person who would help you navigate grief you expect might be the source of some grief for you?
Yeah. There was a really beautiful piece in the New York Times last week or the week before profiling people, actually therapists who had lost their therapist suddenly to death. And those that knew their therapist was sick and going through something, they were able to kind of have a little bit of that grief process.
Yeah.
And those that didn't know felt incredibly betrayed and
Oh, yeah.
distrustful of therapy. Like, well, wait, I thought we had this kind of relationship, but I guess we didn't because they didn't tell me something that, ultimately affected my treatment.
Yeah.
And all
you're
those
not
feelings make sense.
Yeah, and you feel like, you're not being then necessarily cared for by that person in the event that they do step away from their practice or, God forbid, worse happens. And if you're just suddenly thrust into a world of needing to find a new therapist, let me just guess that the first few sessions at the very least are
Yeah.
going to be about talking about losing your last one.
Yeah, well, and you don't yet have the trust and rapport with the new person. That only comes with time. Anyone that builds rapport immediately, I'm a little skeptical of. I'm like, okay, is there some attachment stuff going on in there?
Yeah. Yeah, probably a little bit of that. So
Yeah.
what would your kind of advice be on how to broach this if you have a therapist and this is a concern for you? If you think about this story, hear us talking about it and go, "Oh yeah, I kind of want to talk about this with my mental health professional."
Yeah. Well, one question that they'll probably be a little surprised that you ask this, but one thing you can ask is, do you have a professional will?
Okay.
This is something that, legally and ethically all therapists are supposed to have, but only 32% do. Turns out therapists are just as bad as everyone else at dealing with their own mortality. Like, none of us really want to think about it or even plan for it because it's so uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's completely acceptable to ask your therapist if they have a professional will, particularly if you're in therapy for issues of grief and loss and abandonment.
Yes.
Yeah, that you say, "Hey, I was listening to this radio show and they were talking about people whose therapist died." I personally know 4 people who found out their therapist died by Googling.
No. They had been reaching out trying to book an appointment or contact them in some way and then they found that out. Wow. That would be really upsetting.
It would be really upsetting. And so all the therapists out there listening, like, please make sure that you have a plan. Please
Mhm.
make sure that you have that professional will, just so your clients are not finding out in a really in a space where they don't have a container to process it. The ideal situation is a therapist knows, and they're able to kind of wind down their practice in a way that upholds the integrity of their professional skill and, legacy. We don't always know. And so the next best thing is to have another, very skilled, qualified professional actually reach out on your behalf and say, this person asked me to let you know that they've passed away, and then to give you the space to talk about it and the feelings that come up that, if you imagine getting that call, it's upsetting, but then it's like, oh, my therapist cared enough about me that they made a plan for if this happened.
Yeah, I think that the other piece of this is it brings up, for somebody who is seeing a therapist because they're dealing with feelings of grief, this could be a good jumping off point for a larger conversation too. Like, you don't need to be intimidated about bringing it up to your therapist, because if you just talk about the issue of the professional will, it could be a way to explore grief a little more closely. Because something I found, at least in like my own personal journey with grief, is that it sort of pops up at inopportune times. And I always want to be really careful not to sort of stamp it down and to experience it as it comes along. Because if you're going to have a wave that hits you harder one day, sometimes it's more manageable than on others. But I find like I'm always kind of looking for an opportunity to engage with my own grief a little bit, because the busyness of our day-to-day lives means that we don't really have much time or the luxury to unpack it. That's why I am in therapy, because I almost feel like I want to set aside that specific place to like feel and engage with your grief, heal a little bit, think about it, be curious about it, and then kind of go back about my life.
Yeah, absolutely. The magic of therapy is in the structure and containment, right? It's a structure, like legally understood relationship bound by confidentiality and privacy and privilege. And it's contained. It's not like your therapist is just going to pop up in your living room and be like, time for therapy. No, it's like you have a set time and you don't go over that time. So like the structure and containment is what makes therapy safe. And within that, you feel the safety to explore things that are really uncomfortable and, make us uneasy.
Yeah. And without that set time to explore how you're feeling and talk about certain things in that intentional kind of professional environment, I found that it was popping up when I didn't need it and when it wasn't useful, or I was ruminating about things for extended periods of time. And even if I spent an hour overthinking something, usually in bed, I wasn't coming to any conclusions. Like, it wasn't helping me at all. And so the value of therapy is you're setting aside that time to talk about it, to try to problem solve, or at least to talk about it with somebody so that you don't go spill that over to everyone else in your life, like your coworkers or your spouse or your kids or whoever that is. So I like that. And it is, grief is such an ignored emotion, I think, because it is so hard to deal with and it's so definite. But I think this could be a really good inroad to explore a little bit more of that with somebody who you already talk about this stuff with anyway.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And I'll say that the common wisdom and the party line around sharing information about yourself as a therapist is shifting. So I went through graduate school I started in 2009, graduated in 2012. And at the time, we were still kind of in the old school, like therapists should be a blank slate. You don't talk about yourself. Like the focus is totally on the client. And a lot of people do still generally operate that way. But, there are some modalities where talking about yourself a little bit is encouraged.
So again, the takeaway is talking about this or their mortality. You're not stepping on anyone's toes. You're not crossing a line by bringing up, hey, do you have a professional will? I heard two nice individuals on the radio discussing this, and now it's top of mind. Yeah.
Blame me.
Okay.
Want to be part of the last show with David Cooper? Call us and join the conversation. 1-888-505-6644.
Class is now in session, and the UPS store is here to help you ace arriving on campus. Our certified packing experts can pack everything you need, from desktops to decor. Plus, when you pack and ship with us, you get our exclusive pack and ship guarantee. Your items arrive safe or your money back. Restrictions and limitations apply. To get a 20% off packing coupon and for full details, visit the upsstore.com/packing.
When the day is done, we're just getting started. The last show with David Cooper.
Welcome back to The Last Show. I'm Caitlin Green in for David Cooper while he's on vacation. And like a true millennial, I'm very interested in therapy, but I also can't afford very much of it. Perhaps a relatable problem in this economy in the year 2025. So enter my next guest to explain a form of therapy that's gaining in popularity, licensed marriage and family therapist Laurel Van Der Toorn. Okay, I want to pick your brain about something that you do in your work as a therapist. It is an acronym that I see tossed around a lot. I've seen celebrities increasingly speak about this form of therapy. It's called EMDR. So please explain for everyone listening what this is and what it seeks to accomplish.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congrats on getting the acronym right. We get so many requests for EDMR therapy, and I'm like, there's no glow sticks. There's no.
I was just going to say. You enter the world of acronyms with D&M, and it can go in many different directions.
So EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing.
Okay.
A little bit confusing because it doesn't always involve eye movement, but it started out always with eye movement. So that's what the acronym states. But basically what EMDR does is it allows you to sever the tie between a reminder of something upsetting that happened and your body's physical response to it.
Okay.
Initially, this was discovered to be really effective in treating combat veterans.
I was just going to say.
Most things,
yeah.
PTSD originally was only combat veterans could have PTSD, but it turns out everyone can have PTSD.
Turns out we all have it. It's 2025.
Yes, we all have trauma, and you also don't need to have a formal diagnosis of PTSD to benefit from EMDR. I've treated many people that don't qualify for PTSD that had wonderful outcomes from EMDR. Okay. So let's say we're going to take a really stereotypical example that there's a combat veteran that has a very strong startle response and has flashbacks when they hear loud noises. This is a problem if you are ever out and about on 4th of July or you live, where there's road construction and steel plates and cars are driving over and it does that ka-dunk, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so EMDR, if you go through it and you have a successful, treatment, you could hear that loud noise and not have that flashback and startle response to whatever trauma occurred while serving.
And so when you go in for it, what kind of happens?
Yeah. So it was initially discovered by Dr. Francine Shapiro. She was walking through a park in New York City, and she was thinking about something really upsetting that happened to her. And she just happened to be moving her eyes side to side on the sidewalk as she was walking. And she realized that the thing was no longer upsetting when she was doing that. So she was like, hold up, we got to research this. So the rest of her, the next few decades of her career, she recently passed, were spent researching what is actually happening in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they proved in all the research was that if you stimulate both sides of the brain side to side, so bilateral stimulation, so just tapping side to side, moving your eyes side to side tones in your ears, that your brain stores the memory differently. And it forms new neural connections that process it more like a typical memory than a traumatic memory.
Oh.
Yeah. So when you go in for EMDR therapy, it's a very structured therapy, more structured than any other therapy I have heard of.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of preparation that happens, but the actual reprocessing, once your therapist has given you the tools to handle the intensity and discomfort and, built the rapport and figured out exactly what you're going to target, the therapist guides you through basically reliving the trauma. Mm-hmm. You've got some new coping skills, but it can be intense.
Yeah.
And then they either guide you in moving your eyes side to side, or you can even tap yourself side to side with their guidance. Sometimes there's beeping in the ears. we practice in my practice completely virtually. So we tend to do the self-tapping or we control the beeping side to side in someone's ears. And that side to side stimulation helps the brain store it differently. So you may come in saying, yeah, this memory, when I really access it, is disturbing, 8 out of 10. I think about it and I'm like at an 8 out of 10 disturbance. And successful EMDR, it would be a 0 by the end. Now, some people are like, I don't know if I'm okay with that, because then, what does that mean? That I went through this horrible thing and now it's not upsetting? Well, it's never going to be okay that it happened. You don't have to be okay with something horrible that happened. But that's different than no longer being disturbed.
Yeah. It's creating some distance that would exist between you and that memory so that you could go about your day-to-day life without being thrown into a flop sweat or having other very serious physical reactions to being triggered by that trauma. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I could see that for sure. Because I had also heard on a podcast, surprise to no one, that your eyes are kind of like pieces of your brain that live outside of your brain. And I notice when I'm in conversation with people and when I'm trying to really thoughtfully engage in conversation for work, my eyes, because I'll see myself on video, scan back and forth without me even trying to do that. That is sort of when I'm trying to think of the next word or connect two ideas together, my eyes scan back and forth. And when I was following, a period of great loss, my husband and I would go on a lot of walks together, and we found the therapeutic nature of these walks was very real. And we would schedule them, and they would be long. And after I learned about your eyes being an extension of your brain, I realized, oh yeah, as I'm walking along, talking about something that is really distressing, and so I probably avoid talking about it in my day-to-day life. When I do it on a walk, it's so much easier for me because my eyes are scanning side to side on the sidewalk. I'm navigating, crossing the street. The information just feels a little bit different. And I had always chalked it up to thinking, oh, well, I'm on a walk, I'm in a park, I'm distracted. We can all focus on something else. But I hadn't really made the connection between no, actually your brain is reprocessing this for you as it moves side to side.
I think totally different topic, but we're getting into the wild west of AI calling itself a therapist.
The number of times I've already talked about that topic, and I've only been filling in for David on this show for 2 days. And it came up with the resident therapist. It has come up with tech experts. So many people are talking about how uncomfortable it's making everyone, and especially in the world of therapy and psychology, that everyone's developing these unhealthy parasocial relationships with AI.
Yes. Yeah. And AI is just flat out wrong a lot of the time. Yesterday, I did 2 different experiments. I asked where on the treble clef staff is E, and it could not give me an answer. And then I asked it to give me a list of all of the plays and musicals currently showing on Broadway. And it told me Phantom of the Opera was playing, which is definitely not playing on Broadway right now. So, it's very wrong about a lot of things. So, in that wild west of AI, we need to be very careful. It's also not confidential, which I had come on before and talked about with David, that AI is just straight up not confidential.
Takeaways here: EMDR, great for lots of things. Don't do it yourself. Don't do it with AI. Do it with a licensed professional. So thank you so much, Laurel, for speaking with me about this today. I've been so fascinated in it for so long, and I'm happy that we had a professional here to break down the acronym and let us know what it means and how to use it.
Absolutely. And if you're looking for an EMDR therapist, there are a couple of things you want to look for. You want to make sure that they've gone through an EMDRIA approved training program. EMDRIA is the governing body of EMDR therapists, and that they're in ongoing consultation with EMDRIA consultants. So people that really are the experts, and if they get stuck or don't know what to do, that they have an expert they can go to.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Laurel.
Yeah, happy to be here.
That's it for the last show. I'm Caitlin Green, filling in for David Cooper. I will be back next week with doctors and experts and drag queens. Oh my. And hey, maybe a real life celebrity or two. You never know. Don't forget the last show is available as a podcast. Just head to www.lastshow.pizza, not .com, to listen and subscribe. Thank you for listening and have a wonderful weekend.
If you can't pronounce it, why drink it? Other plant-based milks are loaded with gums, oils, and mystery ingredients. Malk keeps it simple. With simple ingredients you can count on one hand. No gums, oils, fillers, or anything else you can't pronounce. Visit malkorganics.com to find Malk near you. Taste the difference today.